Hello, good people. This is Spots of Nerd. And yes, we are going not backwards, I would say. If anything, we are simply moving forward different directions. And yeah, anyway, we're just going to do a bit more of just the audio version for this episode. Mainly too because I'm going to be probably shadow banned, I'm going to be probably censored, blacklisted, whatever else you want to call it. Because I think it is very important right now, and as I've said many times before, this is a broken record channel. I guess that's if that was a genre, we're simply going to name Spot of Nerd. We're going to put it into that category of broken record because I think it's important to talk about current events, currently what's going on in the world, specifically the situation in Israel. And I'm not going to go down that path of he said, she said, I have this fact, you have that fact, so on and so forth. I think it's just important to simply discuss observations. You know, what I'm seeing, what you're seeing probably, what social media is telling you, all the lies, all the deceit. And I mean, again, I'm not here to tell you what it all means. That's up to you. It's one of the biggest reasons why we live in this country. You get to think for yourself. What a crazy ass concept, no? Question mark? Because let's be real. Let's not look past the facts. A lot of what you have here in America, in the United States, you would be killed for in some of these countries over in the Middle East. Whether that be Iran, Palestine, places like that. It's something you gotta tread very lightly, but at the same time, I hope by just simply taking a step back and realizing what you have will open your eyes to a lot more of what really is going on. And yes, what I mean by that is, of course, certain ideologies, different things, ways in which people are in America. To which, to be very clear, as I've always said, I do not care who or what you are, as long as you are a law-abiding adult of adult age. It's very simple. Once you start involving children, that is where I will have a problem. But I think you can get where I'm going with this, just in relation to the fact that when I see, I guess this is where I'll counter it in terms of where I'm kind of leading this discussion. When I see celebrations, when I see pro-Hamas celebrations and all this other stuff, or anti-Israel this, and I see people in news feeds that are literally screaming, gas the Jews, death to America, death to America. And seeing that and having literal people in this country go, yeah, they're actually, that's okay. That's something they need to do, and it's something we should allow to happen. And I'm pretty confident that when somebody is saying death to you is not a good thing. It is a very, very, very bad thing. And let's not push aside the fact that it was about a week ago now, maybe a week or two ago, when this horrible incident happened in Israel, where it's now, I think the body count is up to 1,300. Men, women, and children brutally raped, brutally murdered by monsters, by devils, by horrible, horrible human beings that are, in fact, terrorists. I do not understand why the media is so afraid to say what these people are, but I sure as hell won't. These people, these disgusting human scum, these vile creatures, are, by definition and by their own charter, terrorists. You know what else is in their charter? Death to all Jews. You might recall there was a person back in the 1940s. His name was Hitler. His first name was Adolf. He managed to convince an entire population that killing millions of them was okay. Kinda seems a little similar to what today's world is, or at least what's going on right now. And it makes me sick to my fucking stomach. When, I'm literally, and I think what I'm getting at, and I want to do a series later on sometime with this channel. I've actually came up with a title for it. It's A Conservative Living in Washington. Because I am faced with it every single day. Whether at work, whether in life, through my own family, etc. It is mind-boggling how many people actually look at me and they look at me in disgust because I support Israel. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be, I would even say you don't necessarily have to be that knowledgeable in this scenario, because let's be real, horrible shit happens all the time, every day, and you and I don't blink an eye about it. You simply go to sleep at night without a worry in the world. But the bottom line is, when I guess what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to explain this in such a dumbed down way that I hope somebody out there is at least just thinking twice about it in relation to when you see these videos online of blood spewing out of a female's rectum. And this is something you are literally saying, but they are justified. I have no problem telling the world through this podcast, through this channel, what the fuck is wrong with you? For you to think that, for you to believe that, when a grown adult female is bleeding from her rectum because she has been raped and defiled by terrorists. Oh, but because of the history, we should allow it. You are a sick individual. And I am not afraid to say that, the quiet part, quote unquote, out loud. What the hell happened to humans in the last few years? Of course we all know what happened, but the bottom line is just, it's a rhetorical question. I don't know how you come back from all of this. It's one of those, obviously this is a bit more of a darker, negative discussion episode, and trust me, we'll get back to more of the positive, because there are positives. Again, you do live in America, you live in freedom, and I think if anything else, people are starting to wake the fuck up right now, and it is time that the switch needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. That switch is a number of things, from the money we're spending, to the countries we're defending, to the, everything else in between, I'm sure you can imagine. But the bottom line is, what it comes down to, the division has got to stop. There's a level of bullshit happening right now, just in American society, that is like, come on, y'all. Come on. If somebody's getting murdered in the street, somebody better step up. Because if you're afraid to, or if whatever, then we really have lost the human decency, human ability to be humans. And I don't know, I think it's one of those, I don't mean this, it's gonna sound selfish and cocky, but I don't mean it literally. I hate being this. Sometimes I really do hate being the person I am, because I hate researching things. I hate learning new facts and new truths, and I hate being surrounded by people that wouldn't take 5 minutes just to do some research, because they tell me, oh wait a minute, I got my research from Twitter or X, or I got my research from TikTok. I just can't fathom the non-intelligence in those discussions, I guess, opinions, etc. I cannot take you seriously if you got your information from TikTok. I can't. I won't. There have been history books for centuries that have discussed just literally what we're talking about right now, the Israel aspect. There are books for the past 100 years with this conflict that explain everything. I'm sorry, but you watching a video on Instagram or watching a video on TikTok does not make you an expert. It makes you something else that I'm not allowed to say on here because of fear that I don't want to get fired from my job. But I think you can gather where I'm going. It's if it's a little quiet in parts here, again, I have to sometimes, you got to take that step back because there's so much you want to say, but you also don't want to lose your health insurance. But overall, I think what I'm trying to get at is just, please just take a step back and really, really think about what you're saying, what you're thinking, and what your views are. I am not the person to tell you to think differently or to view things in another way. I'm simply here to tell you, please, number one, do your research. Number two, enough of the division. And then number three, just because I might have a different opinion doesn't mean I align with XYZ and I should be dead, or I'm anti this or I'm anti that. It's obviously, you could pick any ideology, any discussion right now, anything going on, and we used to be, I've said this before, we used to be able to have conversations about this stuff. And we simply can't anymore. And it's all by design. That, if anything, I think if there's one ask, I just hope that you realize that. And you will just, again, just regroup and think about, this is all by design. And if you give into it, then you are just playing the game. But enough is enough in my world. I really, really do say that sincerely. And I mean that, where I guess we'll just finish this up, because otherwise I may be sounding like we're just going round and round in a circle. Horrible, horrible people exist in this world right now. We do call them terrorists still to this day. And I'm not calling those celebrating terrorists. I am calling people that rape and murder children terrorists. But I'm also going to call out the fact that this isn't one-sided. This isn't one versus the other. This is evil. This is good versus evil. And I'm pretty confident when you look back, and I hope as a human being, you'll look back and you'll want to say that you were on the good side. And I hope that you don't want to be on the evil side just because TikTok told you. And that's really all I have to say about it, because again, I think there's so much more we could talk about, and I hope maybe we can. I really do. If you actually are listening to this, if anything is actually hitting you where you're like, you know what? No, I don't agree with you. Yes, I do agree with you. Let me know in the comments, through message. Seriously, let's talk about this stuff. I don't want to hear facts. I don't want to hear your side of history or etc. Tell me why you believe what you believe, and I'll simply do the same. Because there are things that I can talk to you right now that probably will make you angry, because I guarantee you probably won't have an answer. For example, specifically with this whole issue right now in Israel, what about these 2.5 million civilians? Okay, well, why isn't Jordan opening up their borders? Why isn't Egypt opening up their borders? Palestine, Iran, why are they not opening up their borders for these people? Just ask yourself that one question right now. Oh, well, Israel this, open air prison this, da 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 da. Okay. They just murdered 1,300 people. You really want them to just say that's okay? You're telling me if somebody didn't sucker punch you, you wouldn't hit them back? If you say no and you said, oh, I would be the bigger person and walk away, you've never been murdered. You've never had to witness your child be murdered in front of you, or your wife raped to the point of anal bleedage, if that's a word. See, I don't need to defend my argument or my opinion with facts from news sources or this or that. I just have to look at what's out there right now. I just have to look at what the truth is. And the truth is telling you everything you need to know, no matter what the topic is. So just, again, I would love to have a simple, respectful conversation. And if not, that's okay too. But you also have to respect my viewpoints as well. I've said this with everything we have ever talked about on this channel. And I guarantee, touch wood, cross fingers, I hope I've never crossed any lines, because that's never been my intention. I've always respected everybody, whoever you are, whatever you may be, minus if you are a terrorist. We won't go down that road. But what it does come down to is, I guess I'm kind of almost just sick and tired of being hated, being punished for being different. It's kind of disgusting as a human society that we live in. It really, really is. So that's a whole different road we can go down. But until then, we will finish this up. Huge thank you to all of you that are continuing to support and listen. Please do not forget to follow us, subscribe wherever you can. Spot of Nerd. I was gonna say something. There's something else. I think it was more just I actually really do appreciate. I don't know if any of you are following on the grams of Insta, but I'm pretty confident the specific topics we're talking about right now are not going to get a lot of traction. But I've seen a lot of traction through other reviews we've done, most recently with some Turtles movie, and as well as some reviews we've just done beforehand. So, and again, long story short, I just want to say huge thank you, because it does mean a lot. And hopefully maybe one day topics like this will get better traction as we go along. But this is just the beginning. Trust me. We will continue to talk about these topics well into the future. But until then, please be safe. There are millions and millions of new illegals across that border, and quite frankly, we don't know what or who they are. So be careful out there, folks. I really do mean that sincerely. When I keep reading on the news every other day now, there's people being attacked and murdered for horrible things. So be careful, please, and God, may he be watching down on you. Seriously, we'll be praying for everybody right now, everybody except terrorists, because they're terrorists and they don't need to be preyed on. So yeah, anyway, y'all, until next time, we will see you guys later. Bye.